What's up, America? This is Kim with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today, we're going to teach you a secret Jedi mind trick. This is a Geauga Firearms Academy exclusive secret. If you want to shoot better, then stay tuned.
Before we get into this super cool secret trick, I want to throw a little shout out to the guys here at Thorn and Fire. They sent us this range bag, which is super cool. You can fit 5 mags in on each side. It's double paneled here, a little range bag. You can fit 2 guns. Super padded. We're going to do a really nice review on this product, but it's got camo stitch interior. Super cool. So we thank you guys for that. We call this the Jedi mind trick because that's exactly what we're talking about here. As human beings, right, when we are shooting a gun, and especially, it doesn't really matter what step you are. If you're a beginner or intermediate, you shoot frequently, this is really going to help you, because one of the things that we fall prey to, or victim of rather, when we're shooting, is getting in our own mind, our mind getting in the way, right? Over analyzing, and we'll talk about that in a minute. You guys have probably all done it or seen people at the range where they come out and they're trying to make a very accurate shot, working on their marksmanship, which is fantastic, and they're just sitting there, right? And at the end of the day, we got to remember, how long does it really take to find those sights? Not very long. So what are they really doing? Well, they fall prey of the analysis paralysis. They're just overthinking this, trying to get that perfect sight picture, sight alignment, which is really unnecessary when we think about it. We just need a good enough sight picture to make incredible accuracy. So what we're going to teach you today is a little trick. I know it's going to sound a little silly at first, but I promise you, if you go to the range and you try this, it's going to improve your shooting. We made a few videos now on how to improve your low and left shooting, or low and right shooting, left or right handed, all that stuff. Talked about grip, talked about trigger control. But let's talk about one of the things that really affects all of our shooting. And it's not necessarily the gun or the sights. What really comes down to is our mind getting in the way, as I alluded to earlier. So when we think about this, right, when we have those shots that are low, or we're trying to really get that nice accuracy or that speed or the combination of the two, which I'm sure we're all working towards, when you're working through the steps in your mind, right, you're thinking about, okay, I'm drawing my gun, I'm getting my good grip, I present my firearm, I find my sights, I focus on my front sight, and then I press my trigger, and all that sounds great. But when we're going to go live fire, no matter who we are, at some point, with our mind is like, I know this gun is about to go bang. And so you're out there and you're focused and you're trying to find that front sight, you're trying to get that perfect alignment, and then all of a sudden you go to shoot and we do this movement, right? Because we're trying to control that gun, control that recoil, and we do it too much. And we put too much emphasis on the fact that the gun's going to go bang. Because if we're really following the fundamentals of shooting, the gun going bang doesn't really mean much. That's not the end of the process, right? So if this was for real, after the gun goes bang and there's some type of recoil, right? If we're following the fundamentals, the next thing should be what? Follow through, right? So our gun comes up, and we should be getting right back on target again, even if we know we're only going to shoot one time, right? One shot, okay? Gun comes up, I'm not done, I don't care. I get back on my front sight, and then I finish and scan or whatever I'm going to do to complete the cycle, right? So here comes the trick.
So the trick to this is keeping your mind busy while you're pressing that trigger. So you're not just thinking about the big bang that's to come. And how you do that is by doing a little trick. You can say in your head, press, 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 press while you're pressing the trigger. You can sing the ABCs in your head. You can even sing the ABCs out loud, because who cares if you look crazy at the range? All that matters is that you have the tightest group. So here I'm at the range, and instead of worrying about the bang that's gonna happen, I'm just gonna, in my mind, I'm gonna say press, 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 press. And I'm not thinking about the bang happening.
Again, guys, have a little faith in this. Try this at the range. I promise you, it's going to improve your shooting. I'm going to show you live how this works in a second here. But again, all we're doing is keeping the mind busy off the task at hand of pressing that trigger. You guys already, if you had some basic safety and you understand how to shoot the gun, you have the fundamentals, and you've pressed that trigger a couple hundred times by now, we know how to do all those things. So what we're trying to do is get it to a mechanical phase where it's just like a reaction. I'm just doing my job. This technique will work really well as well if you have an opportunity to draw from the holster. Again, a lot of times when we're drawing from the holster, because there's so much more of the mechanics in there about getting the good grip, meeting our hands, getting good presentation. There's a lot going on in the mind, especially as you're getting new and you're getting better and better at this before it becomes ingrained and part of the thought. rather part of the reaction, right? So again, as we're coming out, now right about here, I'm finding my front sights and I'm thinking to myself, press, 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 or A, B, C, D. I know it sounds crazy. It doesn't matter. I just want to keep my mind busy. And the crazier you actually think that is, the more your mind's going to be taken off the task at hand, which is pressing that trigger and waiting for that recoil to happen. Okay? So here's another thing. Before you, even if you're at a live range and you're going to shoot, before you even put rounds in the gun, just come out here, make sure you do good dry fire shots. Okay? Just because you're at the range doesn't mean you have to automatically fire only live rounds. In fact, that's one of the things that's going to really help you. This is what I do as a pre-warm-up right before I even get to shooting live rounds. Just run through some nice, make sure you're finding that front sight every time, your focus is shifted to that front sight, and we're pressing trigger nice and smooth. So let's go live now, okay? All right, same concept. Whether we're starting from here, we're starting from the holster, doesn't really make any difference. I'm coming out, I find my front sight, A, B, C, F, and so forth, right? We're just doing the letters in our mind as we're pressing the trigger. Once again, good presentation, take your time, keep your mind busy. At the end of the day, even if I find my front target and I look away, I'm still going to have an accurate shot because I've done all the mechanics up until that point. But for me, we're going to find that front sight, press or A, whatever the case is, until we get that shot nice and smooth and we don't move the gun around. And a little bonus here, the last thing I was talking about was that analysis paralysis. You'll see this a lot at the range, and this may happen to you. So again, we come back to this situation where I find my front sight and I'm just here. Think about this. I'm from here to here, found him, found him, found him. Okay, I don't need any more time than that. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm rushing the shot. I'm just saying that from here to here, this picture, it probably only takes me from any person, from here to here, a third of a second, half a second. I mean, you're just finding the front sight and lining it up with the rear sight. Once you're there, you're there. You don't need to wait for that perfect time. You guys, you sit out here and lots of classes and at the range, people out here ready to shoot and they're here and they're here and they're waiting. Like, what are you waiting for? Just find your front sight, shot. You're going to be just as accurate. Just trust that you found your front sight. Keep your mind busy. Don't worry about that press being this, that gun going off is that big deal. What I'm thinking about the whole time here is that after that gun recoils off target, I'm right back on target, right? It's front sight back on, right? And I'm not worried about the gun going off.
Another thing to remember is when you start getting frustrated at the range, don't just stay there and because let's say you paid for 2 hours, so you feel like you have to stay there and you're just frustrated and you're not shooting well. Leave on a good note. Don't overdo it. Don't overthink it. If you need a minute, take a minute, do a few dry fire trigger pulls. It'll help you relax and just stop overthinking. Whether you have to sing ABCs out loud or you're just gonna say press, press, press in your head, find a way to distract yourself so you're not worrying about the big bang that's gonna happen. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up, like it, share it, comment. We always love hearing from everybody. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and click that bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. You can also find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on Patreon. And until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.